In the energy quadrant today, crude oil took advantage of the move in equities, up 4% on the highs, actually a little bit more than 4%. We are now at 4 consecutive sessions in crude oil, today being the strongest of those days. Crude oil was up in the early trading anyway on optimism about the trade talks with China, but then the jobs data came out, and that jobs number was surprisingly strong. 312 headline versus 184 expected, 58,000 jobs added in the revisions to October and November. Labor force participation jumped to 63.1 from 62.9. Wages were up 3.2% now year over year, 11 cents month over month. And then on top of that, job leavers went up to 142,000. That's the biggest we've seen in 10 years on that number. That particular number indicates that people have an idea they can easily get another job and they're voluntarily leaving their current jobs. So a lot of that combined with Powell's comments today in a speech that he gave. He was actually on a panel with Janet Yellen, and he said the Fed would watch the data and they may ease off on the yielding, as well as saying things like there's other factors in play and that could make them slow down. And also he would not resign if President Trump asked him to. All of that reassuring the market, but the Fed might actually be on the market side, which was not the perception prior to this little talk. All of that has given the perception of demand coming back to the markets in terms, or rather in the shape of economic growth here in the US, and then the optimism on the trade talks that begin next week, possibly pushing demand back up in the Pacific Rim as well. So all of that adding to this crude oil bid, again, 4th consecutive day higher in the strongest of those 4 days. And then in the EIA figures, which again was delayed based on the holiday week, the EIA figures were released this morning while we had flat crude oil inventories and a huge draw in gasoline, huge build in gasoline, didn't seem to matter because of the refinery utilization number. That refinery utilization is the highest since September, first week of September 2018, 97.2. That is a big jump from the 95 reading last week. That's showing immediate end demand at the refinery level for crude oil. So all of these things contributing to a very strong crude oil Friday.